Bulletcast for life. Get up! This is a revolution! This is our time to rise! Look deep within your mind, look deep into the hate in my eyes. We are the elite, and you are the weak. No matter how hard I fall, I'll get back up on my feet. Red alert, this is gonna hurt. When your face is in the dirt, you'll know your death is what I seek. We are the elite, and you are the weak, and I will always get back up on my feet. Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is I, the Microphone Messiah, joined by the Canadian Destroyer, BT, Brandon Tanguma. What's going on, man?
What up, everyone? A week away from Christmas, or a couple of days away from it. So Merry Christmas and all the other holidays and all that other good fun stuff.
Yes, absolutely. We are here to recap a lot that has happened in the past week in wrestling. Saturday night's main event, Brandon. We're going to kind of speed through this, general thoughts and consensus. Do you have the card up?
Of course, that's the one job I have on this podcast, is to bring up cards, bring up the Wikipedia pages.
Of course, and put the AEW stuff on the script. You have two jobs.
Sorry, two jobs. Maybe next year I get three jobs. Who knows?
Occasionally you name the episode, so there are three jobs right now. Maybe we'll go for four. It started off with what? Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, it was just a solid, straightforward match. I mean, a lot of these matches are just kind of straightforward, no nonsense. I wouldn't say rush through, but a lot of these matches are, the longest match was 12 minutes, and that was the main event. And I know there's people complaining online about how there was, I can't do the math in front of me, but like 40 minutes, 50 minutes maybe of total wrestling on this 2-hour show. But I thought this was good. It was, told a decent story, what you would think. Sammy, on the underneath, and Drew gets the win, which is what should have happened.
Yes, Claymore out of nowhere. You love to see it. Probably the best overall wrestled match, you'd say?
I think this or the triple threat match. I think both of those were probably up there.
Brandon saying something nice about a triple threat match? That's crazy.
Well, they didn't do my finish. I said they didn't do a stolen pin finish. They almost did. They teased it, but they didn't do it.
They didn't do it. Shout out to Drew McIntyre getting the win over Sami Zayn. We saw legends. We saw Tito Santana. We saw Greg the Hammer Valentine. We saw Coco Beware. And of course, Jesse the Body Ventura. What were your thoughts with Jesse the Body?
I thought Jesse was definitely a mixed bag. He clearly was not immersed in the product. He said Kevin Owen twice, which was a bad look. Not only to say it once, but say it again. That's
what he calls him.
Maybe, but you. Outside of that, I thought kind of the stuff where he would talk in the main event, I thought was maybe not interesting, but it was just, you could tell it was a much different vibe than what all the other wrestling announcers in WWE have. So, I thought it was a mixed bag. If Jesse, I think if he knew more about the product, maybe it'd be a little bit better, but I wouldn't be shocked. I did like how he said something about he'll be back for the next summer or Saturday night's main event, which I think that's just him trying to book himself. So we'll see what happens there.
No, I think they said he's they booked him for every one. I think
also he he kept saying this is the first time he's back in WWE in 40 years. We're just going to completely gloss over the 1999 SummerSlam.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are. Yeah. What happened at that SummerSlam? Tell me.
Come on. We no ball knowers out there. We had the triple threat match of Stone Cold, Triple H, and Mankind for the WWE Championship, and Stone Cold didn't want to put over Triple H, so he put over Mankind. And
then Hunter won it the night after, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Moving on.
That's where Stone Cold got trapped in the ropes, and Triple H had to completely cut kayfabe and try to get him out of there because he got stuck.
Yeah. Good stuff. The next match on the card.
The first of two women's matches, we had Liv Morgan defeat Io Sky to retain her championship. I thought it was, pretty, I'd say lackluster for a Io Sky match, but okay for a Liv Morgan match.
She sold the hell out of that Oblivion.
The knee to face looked very bad. Luckily, Liv didn't show any adverse effects on Raw the next night. That was a live Raw, right? I know that they've been doing a lot of double tape. They did double taping on Monday, so next week's Raw is going to be taped. So
yeah,
it seemed like she's fine.
Yeah. Good stuff. Rhea Ripley comes out there. They stare down. We're gonna get into what they got going on soon. Next match.
As I said, triple threat match. Gunther retains. Like I said, I thought it was a good match. Gunther just kind of does what he does, just like a random power bomb, and that's the finish. Shout out Gunther, like saving Damian Priest's life on that power bomb on the steps. It kind
Yes.
of looked nasty, but then he was able to kind of pick him up again and then put him down the correct way. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Damian Priest doing one of his dives. I saw he broke out the old school. I heard this on Cheap Heat. Do you think he should wrestle more like a big guy?
I mean, probably. I mean, he's not getting any younger. He's in his 40s. I mean, he's only 2 years younger than Finn Balor. And he's a big, lanky guy. So I don't know what you consider like him to wrestle like a big guy because
I
he's
mean,
not
just
like.
start doing really just like no flying over the top rope, none of that. Just straight big boots and choke slams and shoulder tackles.
Well, I mean, he brought out the old school. I think like Undertaker in his later years was definitely like maybe like those 2000s era where he incorporated a little bit of some high flying stuff, a little more speed instead of I don't want him out here wrestling like King Kong Bundy.
Well, I mean, Taker broke out the speed like for WrestleMania. He broke it out, or like the really big. He broke it out like twice a year. Priest does that like every pay-per-view match.
Yeah, I think he should like cut back on the dives because every time it either doesn't look great, he misses the person completely. He landed so hard on the mat in this
Hey,
in this one.
it didn't look like it affected him. What was next? What was next?
Then we had the women's U.S. title match where Chelsea Green defeated Meechin. Match was not that great, but I thought they pulled off the finish very nicely. Interesting that they put Meechin in this spot because like she hasn't really been pushed at all, and clearly people like Chelsea Green. They find her entertaining, but she's a heel. And it's like,
Chelsea Green.
do you turn her babyface? But what her character is not a babyface character, and it's kind of in a conundrum. But it was clear, once we got the final set, that Chelsea was going to win this match.
I mean, she's one of those entertaining heels, man. Let it be known. On Piper Niven's shoulder, I got Macho Man and Elizabeth vibes. The one-legged tights. A shout out to the Long Island Ice Z. Yeah, congratulations to Chelsea Green, the first ever WWE Women's United States Champion. Shout out.
Then main event time, we had Cody Rhodes defending and retaining his WWE Championship. Came out with the Winged Eagle. Phillip, I know, we're two younger guys, respectively, compared to, some other wrestling fans. We didn't live through the Winged Eagle phase. How do you have as fond memories or as much love for that as many others, especially Cody does for that title?
Yeah, man. I mean, I've always we've talked about it on the show. I mean, like I know we grew up with the spinner, and I love the spinner. I'm not one of those people that hate it, even though the spinner, like in its years that it's been gone, it's got more admiration now. I've always loved the Winged Eagle. I know there are people that O'Shea Jackson Jr. thinks the Big Eagle is better than the Winged Eagle, believe it or not. But yeah, the Winged Eagle, man, I've always loved it. I posted a photo when we went to StarCast. That Winged Eagle I'm holding is the ring-used one that Shawn Michaels won at 12 in that famous Iron Man match that you love so much. But yeah, man, I love the Winged Eagle. I love it. I hate that they used a replica and they could just use one from the archive.
Well, the Panda isn't going to allow that to happen.
They couldn't just call up Ben Brown, you know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, Winged Eagle. So I listened back to our episode last week with the predictions. I said Kevin Owens was going to win. I was wrong, but I did say he was going to walk out with the championship, which technically happened.
There you go. Put it on the board. Give a point to Phillip on that.
I know. Ironically, me and SGG from Cheap Heat, we both said these things. So we'll take a little bit. We'll take a little bit. Yeah, man. Cody used the chair. Jesse Ventura pointed it out beautifully. Yeah, and then he's celebrating package pile driver. First time in 10 years we've seen this in WWE. Package pile driver. Cody's carried out, and KO leaves with the Winged Eagle, pushing Triple H, getting violent.
I mean, he's already had one WrestleMania match with an Attitude Era legend. Maybe he has it with another one. I don't know.
Do you? I mean, you think?
I don't think so.
WrestleMania 41. I mean, if he's not in a title picture, if Hunter can do it, we don't know what's going on with his heart. And then I've heard like even like pushing people with like cardiovascular problems is a risk also. And he shoved him pretty hard. So I don't know, but like if Hunter could, that would be a great spot for him.
Yeah, I mean, if Rock
Truly,
isn't going to be there, you got to try to fill out those 2 nights somehow.
truly retire the game. I think that would be something. But yeah, Kevin Owens, man, what are your thoughts on the package pile driver? We've seen it's going down.
I mean, it was definitely a shock they actually pulled it off. And, Gunther taking that brainbuster WrestleMania with Sami Zayn, and then Cody taking the package pile driver with it's not shocking. Like Randy Orton isn't taking a package pile driver, and he took a regular pile driver, but not a package pile driver.
Well, I think
But,
Randy's a little too big for the for the
but, uh,
package.
but yeah, so it was interesting that they went down that route. And, um, Kevin Owens has the title now, and he's kind of been parading with it. I think he's been defending it or going to defend it on like the house show loop coming up in the holidays
Reminds me of
next week.
when Ted DiBiase was awarded the championship and actually defended it on a couple times. So, you know, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Before we get into everything else, let's hear Marlee's thoughts on Saturday night's main event.
Saturday night's main event gave us Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn in a singles match, which, like I said in the Raw recap, was so good we had to run that back again. We had Liv Morgan versus Io Sky for the Women's World Championship with an appearance from Rhea Ripley at the end of the match. We had Gunther, Damian Priest, and Finn Balor triple threat for the World Heavyweight Championship. We had Michin and Chelsea Green in the finals of the Women's United States Championship tournament. Then we had Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. There was a lot going on. Kevin Owens crashed out. Sami Zayn put on a classic. I feel like Liv Morgan in ring doesn't deserve the hate that she gets. I mean, her title reign not living up to the expectations, but you can't say that she hasn't improved in ring because I thoroughly enjoyed Liv and Io. I think Liv, Io, Michin, Chelsea, Sammy, Drew, top three of the night. And it was nice to see Chelsea get her moment because, like I said, everybody was okay with either outcome of Chelsea or Michin for this title. And I think that Chelsea was the right choice because she's done so much. She has truly been the GOAT of 2024. She just takes it and runs with it. And I love it. Kevin Owens crashing out, though, that was, yeah. I think it's about time. It's been a minute since we've seen a heel Kevin Owens, and it's been a minute since Kevin has gotten a proper title reign. So, not saying that this is a proper title reign, but I feel like if this culminates to an official title match, an actual title match between Cody and Kevin, I would like to see Kevin do the big one, personally. Because if we really think about it, you can have that dream match, that dream WrestleMania match for Cody at Mania, but the title does not have to be involved. So, I say let Kevin do it. But overall, solid show. Great time.
All right, thank you, Marlee. Outside the ring, AEW Max details have been announced. On January 1st, the whole pay-per-view library will be available. Correct?
Yeah, they put out a statement to media folks today, and a lot of it's not shocking. We kind of expected a lot of it, but just kind of we got the official details of what was going on. So all the AEW live events, Dynamite and Collision, no mention of Rampage, RP Rampage, gone but never forgotten. Those will be
Is it
simulcast.
officially gone now?
Well, I think next week is going to be the last one. So, T's and P's to that front. But they said all former AEW shows are going to be put on Max. And then they said, pay-per-views will be going forward, streaming live on Max later in 2025. So still not an official date yet, but confirming that at least in the US, Max will kind of be the I forget if they said exclusive, but definitely like the premier home for AEW pay-per-views.
I see. I see.
So you can watch the glory days of AEW back in 2021 and 2019 and all that other stuff.
2019 to what? 2020? What? Two?
Two, once after Brawl Out.
Bro, how is it the pandemic stuff with no fans was better than what we're watching right now?
Yeah, well,
What are you gonna do? Hootie Who 420. We have fan mail. I didn't believe that.
Hootie Who.
Mates, happy holidays with the fallout from War Games and Saturday night's main event and everything that has been laid out for Raw January 6th. How crazy do we expect this WrestleMania season to be? Look, man, this year's WrestleMania season, that it was a wild ride. I had that's probably the most fun I've had doing podcast in quite some time, bro. Like really, it was just so much fun. Everything that was going on. I don't know, man. How crazy do you think this is about to get?
I don't know about crazy because I think last year was very much hard to top because of both the in-ring and behind-the-scenes machinations that was taking place with The Rock. But I would assume they kind of have a planned out where they want to go. I don't think it's going to be as crazy as this year / last year's, whatever you want to call it. So it's going to be intriguing and fun because I think right now we kind of have maybe ideas that we can go, but I think we don't have like any set. Like John Cena. Is John Cena facing for a title? Is he going to have like a Legends match or whatever the case may be? So I think last year 40 was kind of more set, so we kind of knew where everything was going big picture wise. 41 I think is much more of a mystery, which makes it more fun.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like we don't know who's gonna win the Rumble. We don't know what's going on with a lot of that stuff, man. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. We're gonna have to wait and see. In Brightest Day X,
Mr. X.
the Hall of Famer. Oh, this is a long one. To bring it back to last week, where Triple H said that WWE is bigger than the Attitude Era, or is now bigger than the Attitude Era. As someone who experienced the Attitude Era firsthand, because I'm old, the Attitude Era was insane. WWE would not be what it is now without it. In an age before social media and YouTube, they were viral before that was ever a thing. They had people who couldn't care less about wrestling wanting to be involved with it. And I do agree, looking back on it, excuse me, some of the content was being put out wasn't the greatest, but it got people talking. It was must-see TV, and it was a great time, and also a not great time, if that makes sense, in the industry. What do you think of this? So, I mean, that's his statement. Then he also asks, what do you think of this current Amnesia Tony Storm persona? And is she doing the greatest character work in wrestling today? So I listened to Sam Roberts, shout out Sam, shout out not Sam. I'm gonna put him over like I always do. I listened to his podcast and he kind of explained what's going on. So I was like, okay, now I kind of get it. She's basically the reason why her debut match happened at Rampage, and people were kind of upset about that. Like, why have her debut on Rampage when she could have you could have put this on a Dynamite?
She's a brand new signing.
Exactly.
We don't really know too much about her.
Yes, she's starting where she started originally. She's just going back. She's just going back to that. I was like, okay, like that's a level of storytelling I'm intrigued by. I'm a fan of this. The whole the character time was Tony Storm retired, and then to bring back the old Tony Storm, who just got signed. I mean, I think they even put out a new graphic like Tony Storm's All Elite, right?
I don't know about a graphic, but Tony definitely is putting over like she just signed.
Yeah. I mean, it's great, man. I mean, I think that's wonderful. Like, let's see where this goes. I'm very intrigued by this.
Yeah, I mean, last week we just had the debut, so we didn't know exactly where they're going, but now we kind of understand that is like an amnesia angle or whatever mental thing is going on right now. So I'm definitely intrigued to see what's going on and kind of how, because presumably it's gonna, crescendo at the Grand Slam show in Australia coming up in January or February. I forget exactly when, but we're probably going to get some sort of big payoff there. So, yeah, Tony Storm is a great character right now.
Tony Storm is fantastic. Let's get into it. Inside the ring, Chris Jericho showed up at GCW, attacked Matt Cardona, attacked Effie. I was supposed to be at that GCW. That's crazy.
Damn, hate to see it. Hate to
I
not see
know.
it.
I know. What are your thoughts on Le Champion just showing up?
Jericho's kind of done this from time to time. I forget exactly what indies he's gone to, but if he's feuding with somebody who's at an indie show, I think he did. He like popped up in England or something, or
Yeah,
because he
something
did
like
something
that.
with Jericho or with the Osprey before All Out or All In, whatever. So he's done this before, and I did like the video that he put out of like him getting dropped off at in the car, walking in the building, and kind of attacking Cardone in kind of one full shot. So, it's just simple stuff that kind of builds the match, and it's just Jericho in a indie show that you never thought you would see. So, yeah, as critical as people are and how I've been as Jericho right now, he does like to do these kind of one-off appearances, and they are what they are. They're fine.
Absolutely. TNA apparently retiring the X Division Championship. Moose threw down the TNA X Division title, and he said, I forgot what show he mentioned, but a new championship is coming. So, what are your thoughts on TNA getting rid of a title that really brought them a lot of eyes?
Well, I don't think it's exactly retiring the X Division. I think it's just Moose as a heel character changing the championship, and then it's going to lead to a babyface winning it back and then reestablishing the X Division. So not exactly
It's gonna.
retiring it, but just kind of changing it. And Moose, not exactly the internet's favorite wrestler right now
Oh, what do you think?
after defending his girl Tessa Blanchard, which we were right.
Yes,
Put it on the board. I was right about something.
is that the definition of no? Look, I have black friends.
I can't be racist.
Come on now. Yeah. Look, man. I don't know. I mean, I guess it'd be like when Moose like brought back the TNA Championship. Oh, when it was still Impact Wrestling. I don't know. We'll see. Ethan Page breaks Javon Evans' jaw. Have you seen this?
Just absolutely graphic. If you got small children, do not look up this video. I mean, just devastating. So I don't know how he's still alive.
Hot angle, bro. I love it. Where were they at? What's that building? Where were they?
If I know they did the show in Minneapolis, and if that was still the same venue, then it's where the old Lakers used to play,
Okay.
the
I mean,
Minneapolis Lakers.
NXT is hitting on all cylinders, man. Shawn Michaels has that chef hat on. He is cooking up a storm. He's. I mean, is this man the wrestling chef equivalent of Gordon Ramsay? Can we say that? Can we say that?
I can't be too critical of NXT because I don't watch it, but from what I've heard, it seems as though that NXT and Shawn Michaels like does a lot of the maybe worst tendencies of the Vince McMahon era.
What do you mean?
Just very fake looking segments and bad finishes and all that other good fun stuff.
Look, NXT is hitting on all cylinders right now, man. They got stuff.
I know Shawn Michaels has a great eye or eyes for talent, respectfully.
They're hitting on all cylinders. Stop playing. I mean, we got Obafemi and Trick Williams coming up. That boy Obafemi said the only reason why you have that title is because I've allowed you to have it this long. I said, ooh, ooh. And then shout out to our boy Carl Fredericks, Eddie Thorpe, faking getting attacked so he can get a title shot. Brilliant work, man.
I mean, if you're able to outsmart the all-knowing, powerful, beautiful
Ava,
Ava, then I mean, you're doing something right.
come on now. Let's go into a Raw recap. CM Punk and Rollins have a brawl. Punk is out there saying how Rollins, he, all the stuff that they've been. That's
I think. I mean, I think.
them.
I think CM Punk's been listening to this podcast and just heard me talk about Seth Rollins for the past like 10 years.
What
I mean, he basically just said everything I've been saying. He buried his song, he buried his outfits. Just because you dress fancy doesn't mean you're anything.
called him Liberace and Elton John. I was like, oh Jesus. Then Rollins comes out there through the crowd, very Shield-esque. Punk says, Rollins, you're finally where you're supposed to be in the crowd with all the other CM Punk fans. And then they just start brawling. They just start fighting.
And we're gonna have the match January 6th, so definitely loading up this card. And I mean, if it wasn't evident enough, I really did like the CM Punk promo because he just kind of said everything about Seth Rollins that I agree with.
Yeah.
Seth,
Yeah.
not exactly. I mean, I don't know who's writing these segments or who's like planning out what's supposed to be said or whatnot, or it's just
What's
the
the-
old Punk.
You know.
You say what you gotta say, and I'll say what I gotta say, and just Seth keeps getting buried every single time.
I mean, it just going on and on about it. Talked about how, people kept chanting his names for all those years he was gone during Seth's matches, and that's what got him all riled up.
Seth Rollins said he main evented a WrestleMania. He's never actually main evented a WrestleMania. I mean, technically 31 was the last match and he was a part of it, but like he wasn't in the actual main event.
He main evented 40.
Yeah.
Technically he has 2 WrestleMania main events. Technically. He turned the 31 match into a triple threat. It's a sanctioned match. It was the last match on the card. That's a main event. And then at 40, him and Cody versus Rock.
He got half a main event.
What, you're just saying 1.5 main events?
I don't know.
It's technically still more than old Phil.
Oh, yeah, he called him Phil. And we all know if you call CM Punk Phil, that's like the worst thing you can call him. Only his wife and family can call him that.
You remember that time Punk said, "This is Phil Brooks talking to Paul Levesque"? You remember that? That was the first time we heard Triple H referred to as Paul. We were like, "This is." Oh man. Braun Breaker retains the Intercontinental Championship with a super spear. Thoughts on the performance of Ludwig Kaiser?
Yeah, solid match, long match between these two, and it goes once again heel. But Braun just kind of evolves in a babyface in the ring. He's like, babyface in the ring, heel outside the ring, and the crowd reacts to him. The spot on the outside where Kaiser does like the lap around and he doesn't find Braun just for Braun to get him from behind was a little contrived and a little cartoonish, but it is what it is. But solid match, and we'll see what happens next in the IC title scene.
Absolutely. We have new tag champs. Damian Priest cost the Judgment Day the Raw Tag Team Championships after 170-something days. The reign is over. The Viking War Raider Experience are the tag team champions.
Yeah, good for them. I mean, we got Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano as tag champs on one side and the Viking War Raider Experience on the other side. So, the 2014 indie scene is just loving this right now. But
come on now.
Yeah, I would have loved just a clean finish, but obviously Damien and Finn are not done with whatever they're doing. Maybe
they have their final match on January 6th too.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, maybe throw that on there so this one can end as well.
What do you think of Damian Priest going to SmackDown?
SmackDown is allegedly moving to 3 hours, so you kind of need talent on that side. Priest is a sort of big name, but obviously not like any much of a difference maker. So you can put him on SmackDown for
just a change of scenery.
Yeah, but I think we're probably gonna do away with like full blown brands. I don't know, full blown brand splits because I think Netflix is gonna get greedy and want some people. But
I think that's what they're doing the whole transfer window, like in who does the transfer window? What, basketball?
Well, the entire NCAA. And technically soccer, but I don't know exactly how that works because like usually transfer window, it's like the player, it's like a trade window. It's a whole thing.
I think it'll be kind of like you'll see people on multiple shows for a few weeks, and then as we start to really get into WrestleMania season, we'll have people on set shows. Maybe the first like 2 or 3 Raws on Netflix. We'll see stuff like that. Which the second Raw on Netflix is going to happen out here. You going? Let's go.
Maybe.
We'll see. I'll talk to the plug. I'll see what's up. Zoe Stark advances in the women's IC title tournament, defeating Raquel Rodriguez and Kaden Carter. The criminally underrated Kaden Carter. Or is she adequately rated? Do we know?
I think she's still underrated. We're still, scouting the scenes for possibly new underrated talent. NXT, I mean, I think at this point I should have to completely abandon the NXT roster because I think everyone there was quite adequately rated at this point.
Did you see the photo of the new tryout?
Mm-hmm. Once again, Shawn Michaels got a lazy eye for talent. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, too much.
God, I'm trying to get signed one day. I don't need this to come back and bite me in the ass, bro.
Sorry.
Jesus Christ! Oh God!
Strike that from the record.
Yeah. Well, all right. We're running out of time. Jesus. Before we get into the Raw Netflix kickoff, let's hear Marlee's thoughts on Monday Night Raw.
Monday Night Raw opens with the CM Punk promo. He's calling out Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins comes out to interrupt him, and they just square up all around the arena until we move into Braun Breaker versus Ludwig Kaiser for the Intercontinental title, which I can finally admit that this match made me a fan of Braun Breaker. I didn't get the hype at first, but I'm actually watching this match, and this has solidified me as a Braun Breaker fan. He's so good, because if there's one thing I've noticed, the one thing that stood out to me in that match is how he was selling his arm, and it looked like he was selling the whole time. Because I feel like there's some moments where wrestlers will sell for like a second and then just go into doing the move, and then they just in the moment remember that they were supposed to be selling. But he sold and kept going through the match, and it just made the arm attack look so believable. So everything about that Intercontinental match made me a fan of Braun Breaker, and Ludwig Kaiser still kind of growing on me, but it was a solid match between them. Loved it. Rhea and Liv had their promo, set up Rhea versus Liv for the title on the Netflix premiere. Sammy and Drew get into it backstage. There is a triple threat in the Women's Intercontinental title tournament. And then we have the War Raiders versus Finn and JD for the World Tag Team titles, which, won't he do it? Won't he do it? Won't he do it? I feel like there's just so much going on with Judgment Day that the tag team titles didn't necessarily need to be over there. There's so much more going on with Judgment Day right now. That was probably the least of their worries. But Zoe Stark did advance in that Women's Intercontinental title. I would not be upset if she held the belt, but I wouldn't be upset, but I also can't see it at the same time. I don't know. Rhea versus Liv at the Netflix premiere again. I hope that's the end of it. I really hope that's the end of it, because you can only be number one contender so many times. But, same Raw, different Monday.
Marlee, thank you very much. The Raw Netflix kickoff happened at WWE HQ. You saw things like Liv Morgan come out there with Dirty Dom, and Raquel Rodriguez and Mommy was there as well. So Raw on Netflix January 6th. I don't know if you knew Raw's debuting on Netflix January 6th. I don't know if you knew. Yeah. Yeah. Women's World Championship. Here we go. People thought they were going to drag this out to WrestleMania, but no. We're not going to do that. So we're going to get that January 6th. How do you feel? Have Rhea take it?
Yeah, I'm happy that we're kind of getting this out the way, and kind of hopefully Rhea can just win and we can end this.
I still want to see Rhea versus Dom. That's a WrestleMania match. If we can get there some way, I'd love to see that.
Well, maybe you can do that at the Royal Rumble. You don't have to waste a woman's talent, not in the Rumble match. So you can have, all your top women in the Rumble. You can have Rhea versus Dom. That would make sense. And they're clearly pointing to some sort of Judgment Day split or breakup or whatever. So I think this is going to be the beginning. Well, I think the beginning is Finn losing the tag title, and then it's going to continue on with Liv losing.
Possibly. Kevin Owens shows up to the event with the Wayne Eagle WWE Championship, announced he's going to defend it on the holiday tour. They do that big Madison Square Garden show the day after Christmas, but which Gunther is going to face CM Punk apparently. What are your thoughts on KO just walking around? He's dressed to the nines in the tuxedo shirt.
Yeah, the Canadian tuxedo, but
The Canadian Dream, baby.
yeah, Kevin Owens doing some character work, being the real WWE champion. So, it's nothing too crazy, but Kevin Owens can definitely pull it off.
Yes, absolutely. Logan Paul is unretired and is the newest member
Shocking.
of the Monday Night Raw roster. That's faster retirement. He probably has the quickest like retire unretirement in the history of the business.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, there's
Yes.
so many that I don't got it off the top of my head.
Called out Gunther, called out the world heavyweight champion. Gunther was at this thing as well. State the claim like, hey, anybody can come get this work. And then what else happened? Oh yes, Solo Sikoa, Tamatonga, and Jacob Fatu show up. It was announced on SmackDown. They aired a promo from Roman Reigns. Roman saying, "My bloodline got one. Your bloodline got one. Let's leave the troops at home. Tribal combat January 6th for the Ula Fala, and who can claim to be the tribal chief." Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Ula Fala, January 6th.
Once again, another big time match. They're kind of loading this up as a pay-per-view type. I mean, I think this is a stronger card than Saturday Night's main event, to be honest. But yeah, it makes sense not dragging it out any farther because we're probably gonna get still more bloodline stuff. But I think Solo and Roman kind of get that out the way because I don't think people see Solo as much of a threat at this point in ring wise.
Solo needs a. I mean, I felt like that was. I mean, he pinned Roman Reigns in one of those matches, so I felt like that did kind of like give him a little bit a nice boost after losing to Cody all those times. Paul Heyman comes out there and he says, this isn't about Alpha and Sika. This isn't about Yokozuna. This isn't about the Usos. It's about who is the rightful owner of the Ula Fala, and who's going to be the tribal chief, and who's just going to be whoever loses just going to be a pretender. So if Roman Reigns loses, is Paul Heyman gonna equate him as a pretender?
Possibly.
Mm. Yeah, I thought that wording was very interesting. Then lastly, we see CM Punk show up. We found out the favor that Paul Heyman owed him, the Netflix password.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's out there, talks about this. And then Seth Rollins comes out there, no microphone. He said, "I don't got nothing left to say." Who's the bootlicker now? Off mic, of course, you can hear all this. Yeah, man, getting all riled up, and Hunter was there, and he promised that we are going to see things like we have never seen before. So, they're hyping this up, and I do believe they will deliver. This Raw is going to be something truly special. Remember the first Raw of this year, Dwayne showed up out of nowhere, and then it just led to chaos. So, let's see what kind of chaos we can get into this time around. Before we get into AEW real quick, Marlee's thoughts on Raw on Netflix and everything going on with that.
It's still wild to think that Monday Night Raw is going to be on Netflix in a matter of weeks because all of the promos that everybody's posting makes it seem like it's happening tomorrow, but in real time, it still feels like we have a month between the premiere, even though it's like 2.5 weeks out. It's insane. Insane times that we live in. But so far, for the Netflix premiere, we have CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, the grudge match that I thought was going to happen at WrestleMania. But with it happening on Raw, on the Netflix premiere, this is not the fan of CM Punk speaking. This is just, if they're doing Seth and Punk at the Raw premiere on Netflix, does that mean that he's going to get his WrestleMania main event next year? And why should it be against John Cena during his retirement tour? Knowing their history. Okay, we'll put a pin in that, come back to that later. We have Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa in a tribal combat match to determine who the real tribal chief is. honestly, much like Chelsea Green and Michin, I feel like maybe I'm alone in this, but I feel like I'd be okay with either one winning. But I feel like Roman might put Solo over in a big way. I feel like Solo might do it. Solo might do the big one and actually be the tribal chief. Because I feel like Roman has done a lot and it kind of feels like a passing the torch moment, if I'm not mistaken here. We've got Liv versus Rhea. I really hope, again, this is the end of it. This is like the finality of it. However, as much as I think the Judgment Day has run its course, I don't think Liv needs to drop the title for the Judgment Day to run its course. I feel like Liv holding the title will probably be good enough. As long as we just don't get Liv and Rhea at Mania for the title again, I'll be content with that. John Cena's return, I believe this is the first stop on his retirement tour, which is also something weird to think about, that most of us have outlived John Cena's wrestling career, which is crazy. And this is like the first, I would say, quote unquote, major milestone for my generation, because I came in when Undertaker, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Cena, Batista, Orton, Punk, they were all like big heavy hitter players. And now to see those heavy hitter players start to dwindle down slowly, like Triple H had to retire. I mean, Orton, Punk still going. Cena's about to retire. This is his last run, which is insane to think about. 2025 is moving different. The Rock is returning. Dang. I'm just thinking back to John Cena's retirement tour, just thinking about how we got Rock and Cena back to back and how that was technically for the first time ever. Never got a. I mean, we did get a back to back Mania moment, but I just think about how they announced Rock and Cena for the first time ever, and then they went to do it on again at the next Mania, but that was like first time ever back to back. To my knowledge. And Travis Scott's performance. Let's not have Astroworld Part 2. I am excited for this Raw on Netflix premiere. As long as the connection stays and I don't end up buffering. But this is a good move for WWE. I think it's just crazy. I think it's just crazy to see how far they have come as a promotion and a company. To see them make it to Netflix is kind of surreal. That's not me being a tongue to boot, but in retrospect, it is crazy to think about how WWE is really about to be on Netflix. Really let that sink in. The magnitude of that.
All right, thank you, Marlee. AEW recap. Mercedes Moné defeats Anna Jay to retain the TBS championship.
Yeah, kicked off. Well, straight up kicked off the show, but it was a solid long match. Once again, storylines and character work, maybe not the best for Mercedes, but when it gets in ring, really good. Anna Jay, I think, after her excursion from Japan, has really stepped up her in ring work. So nice to see. And they're still teasing Mercedes and Chris Statlander. MJF cut a promo on Adam Cole. Adam Cole rescinded. I think you can point out one thing of what's wrong with AEW is it just seems like it's the worst of the WWE 2010s era. And what was one of the worst parts of the 2010s era? The promos that pointed to the jumbotron of terrible, graphics and Photoshop, and that's what we got here with an Adam Cole. Yeah, I don't. Once again, I don't know what's going on with MJF, but whatever. I put this on the script for Phillip. Chris Jericho visited New York, did all the sights and scenes, and took photos with fans, and went to Rockefeller Center, all that good fun stuff.
The King of New York, the Nueve. I love it. I love it.
We got a vignette or a video hyping up that Kenny Omega will be returning to AEW soon, which was exciting to see. Obviously, he's going to wrestle Gabe Kidd at the Wrestle Dynasty show.
Yeah.
But, putting it out there that Kenny Omega is coming back soon. We already talked about the Tony Storm interview. The 2 Continental Classic matches on the night were Shelton Benjamin defeating Beast Mortos. We almost had an in-ring promo with Ricochet. Thank God that got cut off right away, and he is no longer getting recruited by the Hurt Syndicate. We also did get a promo backstage with Ricochet and Swerve Strickland.
Will the real Trevor show up?
I don't know. And he's doing this like laugh hyena screech thing, and
Who?
Ricochet.
Oh.
It's like yeah. Anyways, but the real highlight of the entire show was Darby Allin taking on Will Ospreay in a Continental Classic match. Fantastic match. If you haven't, go see it. Shockingly, Darby Allin doesn't just do one spot that almost kills him. He does like 2 or 3, which is, par for the course with Darby Allin matches. He does a bear coffin drop on the ring apron, takes a Styles Clash off the ring apron, and just other crazy nonsense. And Darby pins Will Ospreay, which I think is probably the right move, just because, with numbers and all that other stuff. This is what the Continental Classic should be if all participants were at the level of Darby and Ospreay, but they're not. We have people like, sorry, Phillip, Shelton Benjamin and Beast Mortos. Like, can we get Hangman Page and Jay White? And I understand they're in the main event scene.
Shelton Benjamin is the standard of excellence. Don't ever disrespect him again.
Well, he was the standard of excellence like 22 years ago.
Hold on. Him as TNT champion, I'm going to need that. I need to see that. I need to Hurt Syndicate in gold like it's 2021. Okay.
And speaking of guys that should be in the Continental Classic, we had the Death Riders taking on Orange Cassidy, Jay White, and Hangman Page. John Moxley rolls up Orange Cassidy after Shocker. Jay White and Hangman Page start yelling at each other. So, once again, the contrived teammates can't get along because one's a heel and one's a face. Or who knows what Jay White is right now, but... So, some good stuff on AEW, but I also thought, some bad stuff.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much. That's going to do it for us. We'll be back next week to recap whatever it was in wrestling. Also, Bulletcast Awards voting ends on the 28th. Voting ends next Saturday. Get your votes in. We're going to do that big end of year awards show that we always do. You want to pull up for that. Thank you, guys. As always, be safe and stay dangerous. Yes, sir.
Get up, this is a revolution. This is our time to rise. Look deep within your mind. Look deep into the hate.